Okay.
Welcome, everybody, to an Intermillennium Media Project video. My name is Matthew Porter.
And I'm Ian Porter.
I'm his dad, he's my son, and I make him watch movies and read books and watch TV shows and listen to music and essentially force upon him all the media from my youth.
And I get an answer as to why my dad is like this.
We released a podcast episode about Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, thank goodness. I was so worried it was going to be about Dune, and this was just going to be like you going out and leaving me in the desert. I'm glad. Okay, Close Encounters, and we don't have the Casio keyboard. I'm okay. Let's go.
Right. And thinking about Close Encounters, even after we did that podcast, I was thinking more and more about how I felt about that movie as a kid and the impression that made on me. And as with a lot of movies at the time, if the movie was really important to me, I tried to maintain some kind of connection to the movie. I couldn't go back to the movie theater and see it every week. You couldn't go online to find a million people to talk about the movie with.
I guess you could just write a hashtag and whatever it was on a piece of paper, but that wouldn't do as much.
Yeah, just write a tweet on a piece of paper and throw it into the sea in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
See what happens. There were fanzines, which had approximately the turnaround time as a bottle thrown into the ocean. That was a great community. But it wasn't quite the same. It didn't really maintain that feeling of having seen the movie. But there were other things that helped do that. One of them was novelizations.
Okay.
And novelizations, they're still around. To me, they were a bigger part of being a movie fan, or being especially a sci-fi movie fan at the time, because you could, having seen the movie, you could read your favorite scenes in the novelization and imagine it again and memorize them.
Nowadays, it's more used to be able to have an opportunity to reintegrate cut scenes that were not put into the film so that you can get that whole version, kind of like an extended cut that doesn't cost as much for big fans.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You could add big dramatic scenes that don't cost anything to film. And distribution of those novelizations was interesting because for a while there, especially I shouldn't say especially, this could have been happening for decades. I remember it being in the late 70s. There were times when one of the newspapers that we got back in New York would serialize a novelization of a movie.
Why does that hurt my brain so much?
So in addition to having seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think it was the New York Daily News serialized over the course of several weeks the novelization. It was probably an abridged version of the novelization. But just there was a page in the newspaper every day that was today's installment of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
There's aspects of this that remind me of movies uploaded in chunks to sites like YouTube in playlists, but official instead of like mirrored and chipmunked because they expect you to watch it through something that undoes those.
But there was another aspect, and that was the merchandise tie-ins. Now, it wasn't the collectible market that you have today.
It wasn't the apocalypse currency that are pop figures.
No. I've gone to the trading card database, tcdv.com, so that I can show you.
That says Wonder Bread.
The 1977 Wonder Bread Close Encounters of the Third Kind trading card series.
Dad, what are you about to do to me? I have so many boxes of Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Upstairs. I have been sleeving up the entirety of Level 99 Games' Pixel Tactics recently. You know what trading cards will do to me. What are you doing?
Yes, I do. And you think of trading cards as this thing you buy and you build decks and you play games with. No, these were these ephemeral, magical items.
Oh, wow. No, these are the these sort of like purely art trading cards are the things that wound up getting mixed in when you bought random sets of booster packs and you're like, this has no game value. What has gone on here? We have very different experiences here.
Now, there were other trading cards. There weren't the trading card games that we have, that you've got today. But there were baseball cards and hockey cards and other, usually sports-related cards that we would buy, and we had games and trading and such, hence the name. But there were also collectible trading cards around things like movies, occasionally TV shows, usually movies. I'm sure I had some $6 Million Man trading cards at some point, but you could go in like there were a series of Topps brand trading cards for Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I don't know that I ever got any of those.
Okay.
But what I remember very clearly are the 1977 Wonder Bread tie-in Close Encounters.
As in, these came with loaves of bread?
Yes, Wonder Bread was the supermarket white bread, probably the lowest nutrition to volume ratio of any bread ever baked. There was a lot of Wonder Bread in my youth. It was delicious. I don't know that it was good for you, but it was delicious. A lot of peanut butter sandwiches on Wonder Bread. And for a few months there, packed inside the plastic bag with the Wonder Bread loaves, each bag had a Close Encounters trading card.
I'm very used to the concept of blind box figures. I've never thought of the concept of blind card bread.
The blind loaf trading cards. That's
Blind
right.
loaf trading cards. Okay. There were 24 in the set,
There were.
so you had to hopefully buy a minimum of 24 loaves of bread.
Yeah, but you're right. A minimum, very good chance that you were going to get duplicates. I'm sure that I did.
I want this to be on Tabletop Simulator at some point.
Just to peruse your collection of.
Yeah, this is doable as that. I'm seeing the scroll through, and it's a very generic, simple layout, but it's effective.
Now let's see if we can find a gallery here to show you, so we can look at these in a little more detail.
There we go.
Gallery. Yeah, I love the trading card database because they've got so much detail here.
I never knew about this, and this is dangerous too.
But this is, I don't know to what extent they've got TCGs here, but sports trading cards, these movie and TV trading cards. So the trading cards were very, very simple in that
wow.
they just have the logo and they have a still from the movie. On the back, they've just got the number in the series of 24 and what appears, like here's Barry.
I want these Skywatchers.
And then we've got something else here I wanted to tell you about.
Oh, goodness, this is layers.
The CE3K Skywatchers. The UFO hunting club that was connected to the Wonder Bread trading cards.
Oh, that's a sentence.
Now, I don't think I did ever actually join the CE3K Skywatchers because it cost, what is it, $350 to join? That was a lot of money.
$350 for a junior, $5 annually for a senior member.
And you would get like a booklet of material, and apparently you'd get a map showing like the UFO hotspots. Now, I was kind of ahead of the game in this because, as I've told you before, I don't know what was going on in the library where I grew up, this little village library, but there was this enormous, quote-unquote, nonfiction section of UFO stuff in the children's section that had a huge impact on me. And I talked about that in our episode about Project UFO,
Yeah.
which you can also find if you go to IMMProject.com. So I was already into where the hotspots were around the country, what the famous UFO flaps were since the 40s or even earlier. But this was kind of making it mainstream. And I had mixed feelings about that. On the one hand, we are not alone. There are other people who are going to go out there and look for UFOs. On the other hand, it's like, I don't know, UFOs were kind of my thing, and now they're in Wonder Bread.
Does that say it takes 4 to 6 weeks to deliver that
yeah.
first class letter?
You've got to mail it to them. They've got to process your $350 and mail it back.
I guess. Just seems slow.
So there were these kind of things to help connect you to movies. And it also helped turn the movie into an event. It's now a cultural wave. And that was borne out by lots of magazine articles, newspaper articles. UFOs became a big thing because there was this fictional movie released at the time. And then, of course, there's additional things that crop up in response, like Project UFO on TV.
How?
But there were so many of these.
For all sorts of movies. Did Wonder Bread do more sets from different films?
I don't remember any other Wonder Bread trading card sets. This is the one trading card set that I really remember.
So, Close Encounters of the Wheat kind is kind of their limit.
But, and there are variants. Apparently the logo was printed in more than one color.
Oh.
And the database tells us about that. But a lot of it was just stills of the actors, the characters. There's Claude Lacombe, the French scientist.
Oh.
And here we go. You got to get up to number 5 in the series to get to...
The leader.
Yeah. That was another thing. You could get an idea of a refresher as to what the character names were. What were the names or appellations of characters or entities that you really didn't ever get a name for them in the movie. Now we know, we call this guy the leader. Or this being the leader.
Oh, yeah, it is kind of like the toys in Happy Meals.
It is, yeah, it is kind of like that.
But, yeah, yeah. I was going to say, but flimsier, but no, I've seen the toys that come in some Happy Meals. No, these are probably sturdier than those.
As trading cards go, these were just this side of bond paper. They were just enough to be able to withstand.
Wasn't there a Bond set then?
My favorites were kind of these more action scenes as opposed to just the character shots.
Okay.
Things like the horde of little berries, or the
van encounter.
Yeah.
Those are a much better sort of scene to show, I think.
Yep. Now, I bet some people really had a struggle because they have the trading card, and the back of the trading card is the form you're supposed to fill out and mail in to join the CE3K Skywatchers.
Oh,
Who's going to do that with the card? Fortunately, you could write all this information on a piece of paper and send it in. Or there were actually a whole lot of newspaper ads promoting the fact that Wonder Bread was doing this tie-in.
Oh,
and they included another form you could fill out to send in to join the Skywatchers Club, as well as reminders to go buy Wonder Bread because you'll get more trading cards.
I'm just thinking about the people who haven't seen the movie yet, but buy a loaf of bread, and then go to make a sandwich and find spoilers, and that would be so much more terrifying, just to have a film messed with because you made a sandwich. And I think Twitter can be bad sometimes, so...
Yeah, I'm thinking, I guess some of these would have been spoilers, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
At least the shots of the aliens and such. I like the fact that there is this one. The number 12 in the series is The Sound is Heard in India.
That makes Close Encounters of the Third Kind look like a musician biopic. Just that card alone, show it to someone who has never seen this film, and I'm absolutely certain that's what they'll think this movie actually is.
Yeah, this it would be absolutely incomprehensible if you hadn't seen the movie, so I think people would jump to conclusions exactly like that. And I don't know how many of these I had, but I bet I had close to all 24. I know I had a few duplicates. Do I still? I don't think so.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I think that's probably one of those things that was lost somewhere along the line. I am not 100% certain of that. There are enough boxes of comics and stuff downstairs that I am not 100% sure what's in them. It's possible we're going to find an envelope of Close Encounters trading cards at some point as we continue to redo the basement.
If that's the case, then I've got all sorts of card sleeves and everything else. We can make sure that these get preserved.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, I don't have the CE3K Skywatcher's UFO hotspot map.
Yeah, that would be up on the wall if you did, Dad. I know you.
Here's that. They include that great shot from the movie where our character Roy Neary keeps looking away at just the wrong time. That frustrating scene.
Oh, now I'm just wishing we were still at Devil's Tower, so we could, if we had that card there, we could hold up that card and take a picture of the card with the picture of the thing on the TV, add a picture of the place, and just like see how many layers we can make this happen.
That would be very deep. And more shots of Devil's Tower.
Some of these are, these feel like they're just taken off the screen. Some of them look oddly cropped.
I think some of them were. They were changed in aspect ratio to match this weird ratio for the cards. I do think most of these were not necessarily taken from the film, but from production stills and promotional stills that they were taking constantly during the filming.
When your film technology and your still technology is a little separated still, you wind up taking those as very different shots. Nowadays, they just pull a frame out of the digital film, and that becomes their production still sometimes. So.
Yep. I do wonder about their choices sometimes. Like here we've got hiding from the helicopter. I can't say that that's a scene that really spoke to me in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's not the one I went back to see in the future.
I admit, if you were converting Close Encounters into a video game of the era, it would be a level, so I can kind of understand Wonder Bread choosing that.
I'm imagining like the train mini game in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
Can I please just get on with the story? No, you've got to spend the next 3 nights trying to complete this train heist.
I think it's the NES Ghostbusters that has like you literally have to climb the emergency stairs through the entirety of the height of the tower, including every single floor, and it's like the biggest grind in video gaming.
Here's a reference if you do want to build that Minecraft reproduction of the landing site.
Yes. I need that. I need that. I need that one.
Some of them, you can't see a lot, but this is the kind of card that I liked best. Little glimpses of that Douglas Trumbull visual effect work.
Yeah. They look very much more Muppet Face-like when you pause that. It's got the straight line and the dot for the nose and the 2 eyes, and I'm just like, that's a pair of ping pong balls, and it's supposed to start going manamna at that point.
All right, can't unsee that now. That card is very different for me. Thank you.
Welcome. You try to melt my brain, I melt back sometimes.
Here we've got more. A small spaceship.
Spoilers. I like how they've got 2 entries every time for the white or the yellow lettering.
Yeah.
Because variants.
Those are different cards for collector purposes.
I guess a full set is actually 48 cards.
The red spaceship.
It comes with optional trim package. I wonder if the people at like Skywatchers like had any response to getting different cards as things, because these definitely came in rarities from what I'm assuming. They weren't all the same chances.
Yeah, I don't.
So it's like, are you there at Skywatchers and more impressed or surprised if you get the rare one as your sign-up sheet? It's like, are you wondering if they don't know, or are you just like, wow, they really want in?
I do wonder about groups like MUFON or the other groups for the study of aerial phenomenon. When this all came along and the CE3K Skywatchers starts up, probably lasted all of 6 months. I wonder how these groups that had been taking this very seriously since the 1940s felt about it suddenly, the whole idea of what they are doing being a movie tie-in. I bet there were mixed emotions about that. I bet they got a lot more reports to MUFON
Yeah, they
as
probably did.
more people were looking up and thinking about UFOs. I bet there was a lot more noise to Signal in what they did receive, though.
That makes sense. I wonder if any of them got sent one of these sign-up things instead. It's like,
I wonder.
use this as sign-up, but send it to the other place,
Yeah.
because I could see that happening.
This is probably the most impressive shot of the whole bunch because it's one of the most impressive shots in the movie, that mothership at Devil's Tower.
Oh, yeah. This is just making me think that I want to find, like, trading cards like this for a movie that I'm a fan of, just because I want to use those as tokens in my trading card games. It's just like, get that, put them in little sleeves with a little marker in the corner so it has stat block, and it's like, I could have fun with that.
I wonder if they had trading cards for Colossus the Forbidden Project. Probably not.
Probably not, but I bet you could AI generate them, and oh, wait, that's a bad idea.
The light board.
Ooh.
I always wanted to program that to play Breakout.
Yes!
It's set up for it.
It absolutely is.
A friendly greeting. Another appearance.
Sup. That's all. The sup card. Ah, there we go. That's all. That's all of
That's
them.
all of them. That's 24?
That's
yeah,
the
it's 24. So yeah, that was the full series of the Wonder Bread Close Encounters of the Third Kind trading cards that meant so much to me in 1977.
I'd known kind of tie-in trading cards like this to a small extent. I've read and listened to podcast episodes. There's a very good Under the Influence episode, which is all about these sort of things in marketing. It's a really good episode and really cool.
Yeah.
But I'd never seen a collection of these like this. And honestly, I can understand these are a great way to keep connected to the film, to hype up a film. It's got a lot of function in terms of that. They fit well. And it's the same sort of mentality that, this is going to sound really weird, it's the same sort of mentality that memeing screenshots of trailers after the film has come out has taken, where it's like a small comment, a single picture, and the community gathers around that to keep going.
Right.
It's got a similar effect in a weird way. It's just this is less tongue-in-cheek.
Because even if you did have friends who were as into the movie as you were, this gave you something to do. You weren't just hanging around saying, yeah, that was a really good movie, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. What was your favorite scene? You could compare your card collections and trade them and use that to spark discussions of different scenes. So it was, they did have some function as well.
Oh, yeah.
In addition to being the application form for the Skywatchers Club.
I want to see how big these were, and like, are they standard American trading card size? Are they smaller? Or?
Now they were kind of standard, baseball card, trading card size.
Okay. It's also dangerous that every single one of these has an eBay link.
Yes, that is one thing that the TCDB does, is it does make it easier to find them, or at least to find a search for them, if any of them are available.
This has been kind of cool. I guess taking our usual method of review of things, of revive, reboot, or rest in peace, I don't think these have ever died long enough to need any of those, so...
I guess not. Yeah, I can't imagine someone coming up with a new sequence of Close Encounters of the Third Kind trading cards.
No. The modern method of card games, ever since the 90s kind of changed that, means that you wouldn't get away with purely... You might be able to get away, but you wouldn't probably get away with trading alone. It would have to have some other material to it. You'd have to have more information density. But I could almost see something that would take a lot of these older movie franchises that had this sort of trading card set and making a mashup game where it's just like Weiss Schwartz, but for this sort of stuff, where it's got a pack from different films and you can just mix them all up and make something.
Yeah, I
Maybe
could see that.
the closest thing to a reboot I could imagine for these.
Because I don't know, are non-sport, non-TCG trading cards even a thing or much of a thing anymore?
Not as much. There's some, but they don't last as long.
Yeah.
And they are much more niche.
Mm-hmm.
Although the recent trading card boom that happened during during 2020 really changed that market. So if they're gonna come back, now would be when.
Well, this was fun. I'm glad
This
I
was.
had a chance to surprise you with these.
Thank you. You definitely did, and this definitely feels like a good bonus follow up to that film, and definitely like a rabbit hole of absolute bewilderment for me, which I will happily dive down.
Well, I enjoyed that. And thank you for watching. If you've watched this video, if you're watching the stream, thank you for watching it live.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
And we will be back very, very soon with some more video bonuses. And of course, every other Monday, we will be back with more podcast episodes. Again, go to immproject.com and you'll find all of that information.
In the meantime, we were something to watch.